Okay, so happy Thursday. Thanks for everybody jumping on today. I know you guys have busy weeks, lots going on, lots to do. This isn't your only gig for a lot of you. So I appreciate your time. Today, I don't know if we're going to go quite the full hour, depending on what kind of conversation we have or what kind of conversations come up. But we are going to focus on more of a sales, at least thought of as a sales skill. It's objection handling and how to confidently handle and understand these conversations. Because even though, and I've got some examples of it this past week, even though what we're giving away is essentially free, there are still objections that come up. And we have to be able to have those conversations and have an understanding of how to overcome them even though, again, from our perspective, it's free. What's not to like? Why wouldn't you do this? But there are still things that could be barriers in our vendors, in agents, in customers, everybody's perspective. There could be something that comes up that's considered a objection. So I want to talk through that today. We've got a few slides to go over, some conversations to have about it, and we'll open it up as always and see what kind of things that you guys are running into or any questions that you may have. So let me go ahead and pull up the slide deck. Let me move you guys out of the way. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. So, like I said, objection handling with confidence. This is transforming, and when I say it's a sales approach, because this is typically considered a sales activity, but it really is any type of conversation, understanding what objections are and how to turn those into opportunities or into additional conversations is really, really important. And this can be wide ranging. We're going to talk about it through the lens of XP today, but as you're doing it and as you're practicing it, you'll see that, um, oops, sorry, trying to get invites, get people in here. You'll see that this has wide-ranging impacts. It can impact your personal life, conversations, friends, discussions, lots of different things that come up that you could need to overcome objections or at least identify objections and overcome them. So I think this is an interesting conversation for me when I was getting into and learning about sales. This was really important for me. So we're going to talk about turning those objections into conversations, not rejections, because there's a difference. And we're going to talk through what those are. I need to pull up my notes too, so I don't miss anything. And we're going to share experiences. If you guys have had any objections that you've run into, and I'm going to actually share one of them that I've had. Actually, I think I've had two in the last week or so that are worth talking about. And then we'll build on our collective knowledge, sharing throughout this presentation what objections are and learn more about it. So I want to share first, and then I'll open up, see if he has anything anybody else wants to share. But I had a conversation, I've had two conversations this week that had objections that needed to be overcome that actually turned into um, me needing to follow up. So the first one was a lady that's running a party. She does balloons and gifts and stuff, and that's her business. And her objection, her objection was that she didn't know if this would work for her. And she didn't understand, what we were doing and how it would work for her business and if it would drive leads, if it would drive attention, in any of those things. The That was her objection. And what it really came down to is that her objection was based in the fact of her uncertainty about her own business and her feeling like she's getting undercut by all of these different people coming in and invading her space. And that's where she was really struggling, is that she didn't have confidence that this would work, for her, but it wasn't that this would work. It was that her business is struggling on its own, and she, in her own head, couldn't get past the fact that she doesn't know if her business is going to make it. And so that was, it wasn't really an objection, it was an objection that turned into self-reflection on her business. And we have to be able to identify those and learn when to kind of push on it a little bit and question it and try to move through it and answer it, and when to identify that this probably is a time to just lean back a little bit and say, you know what, I get it, I understand where you're at. I'll answer any questions that I can to give you as much comfort in how we can help you, but then giving her a chance to think about it and then follow up at a later date. So that was one example. And then the other example was just an old timer guy that runs um, an installation business, and he just doesn't understand digital marketing. He just doesn't understand. He has a hard time wrapping his head around it. He's lived in a world of referrals and, you know, manual stuff his entire life. He's been doing this for like 30 or 40 years. So anything digital just doesn't make sense. So it takes longer to work through those questions that they have and help them to understand and educate them on what we're doing and how it can benefit them. So it's not a no, it's an objection, but the objection again is based in knowledge and a little bit of fear of, hey, is this going to work for me? Do I even understand it enough to actually say yes or no? And so where that conversation ended was, yeah, I'm interested. I don't really understand it. So we'll have another conversation. I'll follow up with him to when he has a little bit more time. So understanding what we're running into, and even though it's free, there are still objections that we're going to have to face in customers' minds when it comes to, is this going to work for me? And I'm going to break down a little bit more of that in a little bit. But I want to open it up and see, does anybody have any objections that you've heard over the last week or so that you wanted to share, or anything that you wanted to bring up?
Anyone? I think this is normal when you're talking to a vendor or an agent or anyone, because again, this platform is new. So we need to get comfortable with these objections. And then, as you said, kind of learn how to, with a simple conversation, overcome the objections. Me personally, I'm kind of used to this, but again, you getting confident in learning about what we do and sharing experiences from other vendors, other clients. This is what we have done for this person. This is how we help this other vendor. It gives people, I guess, peace of mind that they might be making the right choice. But at the end, well, you have nothing to lose here, just to give it a try. One of our agents, she's not here, but she's doing an amazing job with contacting vendors, and she's getting a lot of those because again, she's new, and she's always texting me like, "What do I say here? Like, how do I answer to this or that?" And she even got a vendor that asked her, if your platform, it's as good as you said, and this is the amount of the license. Well, bring me, my first clients, and from there I'll pay the license. So you're gonna find a lot of people that want to try to kind of take advantage of you, of what you do, and kind of intimidate you on, doing as they say. So you kind of have to, again, get confident into what this is. And my suggestion is just share the opportunity. Don't try to modify things. This is what we have to offer. We believe it's a good opportunity for every vendor, and it's here for you. If you decide to join, well, this is what you have to do.
Well said. Don't try to step outside the program.
Mm-hmm.
And to kind of just pile on what Diana just said, we're gonna continue to go over, and this is what we're gonna walk through today is to some of the things that she brought up. How do I answer these questions? What do I say? What do I do? What's the next step? So we're going to walk through that. And one of the things that, and I can't remember what my next slide is, but let me see here. So what is the objection? Objections are progress. We need to understand that objections are not no's. Objections are a way of asking questions or getting clarification around where that vendor is or where that person is in the, we call it the buying journey, or where they're at in their decision making path. And we need to be able to identify those and help them work through it. And the thing that's, I think, the best part of getting objections over time is that you learn how to preemptively answer objections the more you hear them. So, if you constantly hear, well, if this doesn't work, or, what's the cost, or, what am I going to be guaranteed, or what, all these, different things that come up, the more you hear it, the more you answer it, the more capable you are of answering that question earlier in the conversation before they ever bring it up. And say, hey, people say that, they're really busy, or they're always getting referrals right now anyway, and they really don't need any more leads, or, they've got ads that they're running. And, I get it. People say all that stuff all the time. This is in addition to your current strategy. This helps amplify what you're doing. And answering those questions before they ever become an objection, it makes you feel like you're more of an expert in the vendor's eyes. And it also answers a question that they hadn't even had a chance to ask yet. So the more of these you get, the better you're going to be at preemptively answering them. So by the time you get to the decision at the end where they say, where you're asking, hey, let's go ahead and get on a call and build out your directory, or, show you what the directory looks like and get your listing put together. It's almost always a yes if you can answer those questions ahead of time. So understanding that objections are progressively getting them through the conversation. Signs of engagement. They're listening. They're not really rejecting you yet. They just need more information. They're growth opportunities. They're opportunities for us to make our pitch stronger, make our conversation clearer, and answer questions as effectively as possible in ways that they understand as a vendor or an agent or a customer. And understanding this is a key mindset shift for a lot of us. I'm here to help. I'm not here to sell you anything. I just want to help you get more visibility, to grow your business, to give you access to the network, give you access to the tools that we have available. And again, I'm here to help you solve business problems and help grow your business. And when we do that and we come across that way, it's a much easier conversation with the customer or with the vendor, and it's a lot less likely that you're going to get objections. But have no doubt you're going to have objections, and it's just how you overcome them or how you identify them as we go. So what is the difference between an objection and a no? In being able to identify the two and what to lean into and say and get and be more clear on, and what to say, okay, if it's a no, I'm not going to continue to try to push and convince somebody if they're truly a no. So let me So what's an objection? If they're hesitating, they've got questions, they've got concerns, they're not clear on what the opportunity is, what we're actually talking about. That's an opportunity for us to clarify, to rehash the question, restate it, find out where they're at, where their head's at, what they're really thinking about, and build trust. That's an objection. Those are the things that are going to come up all of the time. And there's three primary objections that I think are on the next slide that we're going to go over, and I'll show you exactly what they are and we can talk through those. But then understanding what a no is. A no is a clear refusal. Somebody who's just not interested and they've said no. Don't keep pushing. Because if you're pushing, and say you're doing this either on a phone call, a Zoom, or through, a face-to-face conversation, or even if it's through chat, if you continue to push on somebody who's clearly said no and they're not interested, then you're going to create friction and you probably burn that bridge later. So identify when they're saying no. I've got some, ways to help kind of progress that conversation here in a minute. But understanding the difference between a no and objection is really important, and it makes it easier for us. Because when somebody says no, they're just not interested, it's flat out, hey, just stop. Then, hey, okay, cool, no problem. I see that this isn't a good fit for you right now. I'll put you on our list and we'll continue to follow up with you in a couple of months to see maybe things change, if you're interested. And it's much easier to do that than it is to try to continue to push somebody who's not interested. But if it's an objection, we have to be able to handle those independently. And I think that's what we're covering next. So, what are our three big objections? All of the objections that we're going to run into as business owners, as salespeople, as vendors, as agents, it doesn't matter where you're at. It comes down to these three buckets. Time. I don't have enough time to dedicate to do this. I don't have enough time to hop on a call and learn about the directory, or, I'm just spread so thin, I can't physically do anything. I don't have time to do this. I'm just too busy. That's an objection. You'll hear that a lot, especially when we're dealing with, owner operators. Money. I don't have the budget. I don't have any extra money to spend on marketing or, whatever it is that you're offering. And then knowledge. And knowledge is one that I think we run into more often than not, especially since money for us is not really the issue because we're giving them a free opportunity. But knowledge of the how and the why and the what is a huge gap, especially for people that don't understand digital marketing. They don't understand the online space. And there's a lot of people out there that do this. But even the ones that I've talked to that call themselves tech savvy, still, when it comes to digital marketing, they're not very knowledgeable. They just don't understand it. And it's our job to educate them. And the more we can educate them and help them understand the benefits, the more likely we are to break through this knowledge objection. So these are the big three. It really does come down to, I don't have time, I don't have money, and I don't know if this is going to work. And when you get prepared for that, you can understand that they're seeing these through these lenses. And when you hear an objection come at you, you're like, okay, is this a time, a money, or a knowledge objection? And then understanding how to address it when it comes in through one of those buckets, it makes it easier for us to have an answer that's going to truly identify that it's a time issue. And okay, that's great. This doesn't take very long. It's really just a couple of minutes, and I'll show you exactly how it works. We'll handle all the heavy lifting and building it out for you, and all you have to do is show up, and I can show you the final product. So I'm going to try to take no time from you. I'm going to set it all up. I'll take care of it all on our side, and we'll have you up and running. So again, I've overcome the time objection, even though it's going to take them a little bit of time, but I'm going to show them a lot more value with, what I'm going to deliver, and it's not going to take very much time on that. So again, just understanding what the objections are that are coming your way and how to answer them is going to make it easier. And really the best way to do this is just repetition. The more of these you get, the more objections you hear, the more effective you're going to be at answering them. And I think I've got this in the guide, but one of the things I really suggest is if you have an opportunity or have an agent buddy or a training buddy that you can role play with and actually role play some of the objections and go through the I don't have time, I don't have the money, or I don't know if this works, or how does this work objections, and actually role play those through actual conversations, it goes a long way to improving your skills in a safe environment. I've done a lot of role play over the years for training. It's a huge opportunity to improve your skills without doing it live fire in front of a potential customer or vendor. So if you have the opportunity, absolutely do it. If you want to do it with me, let me know. I'd love to do it with you. So why do objections come up? So there's a few reasons that they come up. Time. Again, we talked about time. They're busy with competing priorities. We have to show them that up front we respect their time. We know it's not going to take very long, and we understand that they're doing other things. So how do we fit this in and show that it's a big value for a very little amount of time? And we're going to be able to save them time in the long run because they're not going to have to do as much marketing. They're not going to have to do as much prospecting. They're not going to have to do some of the things that they're currently doing by learning a little bit more about the XP network, what we do, and what we offer. So if we can address the time issue up front, it helps to overcome that objection again before it comes up. Again, ROI focus, money. You know, they're careful with their money. They need to make sure that they're going to get a clear value out of the time that they're investing, or if we're selling them the XP upgrade or the Pro to the paid account, what are they going to get out of it? What's the benefit? What are they getting out of their $100 a month? I mean, it's a pretty easy conversation when you start talking about all the value that they're going to get, but we need to understand where they're at and, what are they doing now for marketing? What are they doing now to try to connect with people and grow their business and show that the money they're spending now is, what we're charging is we're going to give them way more value by working with us and utilizing the XP network. Another one is past experience. This one you're going to run into all the time. And this one, the past experience is going to roll right into the money. They've been burned by agencies. They've tried to run ads before. The ads didn't work. They were charged a ton from social media companies or from ad agencies or Google agencies or whoever it may be. And they're super, super skeptical because they've just been burned so many times. There's a lot of bad actors online. And when we're talking to them, this is one of the first things I hear. It's like, especially when I say it's free, there's no charge, we're going to want to go ahead and get you set up. It's always, what's the catch? What are you really trying to get out of me? And that's that skepticism. That's the people that have been disappointed by prior businesses, prior people that they've talked to that promised them the world and delivered nothing, or promised them a lot, charged them a fortune, and then ghosted them after they didn't get any results. All of these things come up, and these are probably the most objections that we're going to see is based on the past experiences that they've had that put a really sour taste in their mouth for anybody calling themselves a marketing company. Even though, we're not simply a marketing company, we're really helping with business solutions and our network and everything that we're doing with them, but they're going to see us through that lens, and that's going to be one of the things that we need to overcome and we're going to run into. Just be aware of it. That when people do have these skepticisms, it's natural, and it gives us an opportunity to position ourselves as, again, we're here to help. We understand, we see what you've been through. I understand that you've worked with Angie or Thumbtack or, XYZ ad agency, and you had a really bad experience. I get that. That's why we're here. That's why we came up with the platform and the approach, because we know how bad you guys have been treated, and we want to help create a better environment for you. And again, understanding where they're coming from, what they're run into, and how do we move them forward and get them through the objection phase and move them into a decision-making phase. And then again, what our role is, listen first and then guide them through the process. Listening as they're talking, as they're going over their objections, as they're talking through what they've tried in the past. Those are all questions that I'll ask when I'm talking to somebody. Hey, what are you doing now? What have you tried in the past? What didn't work? What did work? And as they're talking through these things, I want to listen for key things that they've tried or things that they've been frustrated with, so I can now start to address those and tie them into how the XP network is going to help them move forward with the things that they've already tried in the past that didn't work, or how we can add on to and be a benefit for the things that are working. So I don't want to, I don't want to put down anything that they're doing, and I don't want to put down anything that they've tried in the past themselves and didn't work. I want to understand what they're doing and just help them say, hey, it's not your fault. I got it. We're going to help you out. These are the things that we're going to do and help be there for you to help support and help you grow your business. And by doing those things, we can tamp down the objections that they have, that skepticism, and make them feel more confident and comfortable with what we're trying to accomplish. So hopefully that makes sense in why these objections come up and what we can do preemptively to reduce the likelihood of running into objections when we get to the point of, hey, are you ready to go ahead and get started? Any questions about that?
No questions, pretty clear.
Cool. So reframing objections, again, this is a lot of what I just said. It's around building trust, being calm, being confident, that shows that you're an expert. Don't, don't try to overtalk it. Don't try to, as Diana said earlier, don't try to make something up and recreate what our offer is. Really re-ask what it is that, and try to really drill down on what their objection actually is. You can restate their question. That helps us sound more confident and more of an expert when we're having these conversations. And then acknowledge the reality. You know, most feel this way at first, but then they see real leads or they see real results and they feel a lot better. So if we acknowledge what their issue is, hey, most people feel like it's going to take a long time, but it really only takes a few minutes. Once you hop on a call, I'll show you how everything works, and it doesn't take any time at all. Or, hey, most people feel that, marketing is really expensive, but the reality is we can get you started for free and then start helping you get leads and find customers and get access to more things in the network for way less than you're paying your current marketing company. Is that something you'd be interested in? So now I'm addressing the fact that, it may cost something, but it's not going to cost anything near what we're paying, and we're going to give you better results or, improved results, new opportunities for way less money than they're currently spending. And then staying authentic, using your tone and not sounding salesy, not trying to use buzzwords, not going over the top. Just being authentic in who you are and how you're trying to communicate is going to go a lot farther than trying to get into some persona and be somebody else. My conversations when I'm having them, it really is, hey, just me and a business owner having a conversation. I'm trying to figure out the best way that I can help them. If it's, so I'm trying to figure out the best way to help them. I know in my soul that they need visibility. There's not a business out there that doesn't need visibility, that doesn't need more eyeballs. Our answer to that is the XP network. If you look at Apple, Microsoft, Nike, every big company, what do? They pay tens of millions of dollars every single year for more attention, more eyeballs. That's the name of the game. That's why they pay for ads. That's why everybody's trying to be on TV or they're trying to be online or trying to hire influencers. All of these things is because they need visibility. And if I know and I can be authentic and say, hey, I understand where you're at, but this is our solution, and our solution is to help you get more visibility, more attention, and more eyeballs to help grow your business, build your reputation, and make you the kind of the go-to business in the community. They're going to understand it. And it sounds much more authentic when you say it and you actually believe it because you know what you're talking about. So this is just a repetition thing. The more you say it, the more you do it, the more effective you're going to be in answering their questions. So hopefully that makes sense. Just reframing where they're at, build trust. Just quickly and easily say, hey, I get where you're coming from. I truly get that. This is what our past clients have seen, or this is how most people feel after they've, been doing this for, a week, 2 weeks, 6 months, whatever it may be. So short, confident responses. Offer availability. If somebody is talking about, if it turns into a rejection and it more of a no, just offer availability. Hey, no worries. I'm here if you need help. Just let me know. I'll stay in touch. Or if they're acting like they're really busy, try to provide a little bit of value and then end it with, hey, again, no worries. I get it. We're here. If you need us, just let me know. Keep it simple. This one is a really good one. When you're talking to somebody and taking the pressure off that conversation is, hey, I don't even know if this is a good fit for your business yet. I think it is, but let's hop on a quick call. I can talk through, what it is that we're doing, find out a little bit more about your business, and then we'll see if it's a good fit. And if it's a good fit, we can move on to the next step. Again, now I'm relieving the pressure on them. I'm not trying to sell them anything, even though it's a free listing, or if I'm trying to sell them on an upgrade, it doesn't matter. Hey, I want to know more about where you're at so that we can find out if we're a good fit to work together. I already know we are, but I need to get a little bit more information about you, your business, and what you're trying to accomplish, and then figure out how we fit into that strategy. And when we do that, when you approach it that way, it's a way easier conversation than trying to convince them at the very beginning that, hey, you need to be part of our network. It's much more of a conversation about, hey, let's find out where you're at. Let's see how we fit together. And then if you get stuck or if you don't know what to say, kind of to Diana's point earlier about, the tone and, how do I phrase this and how do I reply? Use the AI support tool to rewrite your responses and it'll help change your tone, make sure that it comes across naturally, make sure that it comes across as conversational or professional rather than, it could be abrupt or it could be misconstrued when it's, when you're not quite sure what to say or how to reply. Because the AI tool is really, really good at helping you overcome objections. It's really, really good at it. So again, short, confident responses helps go a long way. Know where you're at, know what your next step is, as we've talked about in other trainings. If I know what my next step is in the process, it's a lot easier to have that conversation. So special call out for anybody that's ESL, English as a second language. The AI assistant, again, is here to help because it allows you to rephrase what you're going to say in a more neutral and natural tone so that it doesn't get misconstrued. Because it can happen. If you're not quite sure what to say, run it through the AI assistant. It'll help you rephrase it so that you're comfortable with what you're sending. And then again, keeping your communication simple, clear, authentic, who you are. Don't send long messages. Don't try to over reply. Don't try to over communicate. Kind of rule of thumb when you're communicating with somebody, especially through text messages or DM or something, even through phone calls, is your reply should be about as long as theirs. So if they're doing fairly short replies, you should have very short questions or statements to kind of match their tone. And as they start to expand and open up, you can expand and open up your conversation. So a couple things that you can do to utilize the AI assistant and practice this. Just start asking it questions. And here's a couple of examples. They're in the guide that's in the chat as well. 3 ways to handle, hey, I already get referrals. And this one is one you're going to hear a lot, especially if you're dealing with small service businesses or contractors or people that work in the service space. I already get referrals. Okay, first of all, you may get referrals, you may not. You may think you get a lot of referrals, you may be surviving on referrals, but referrals are really hard to grow a business on. So, how do I overcome that I get referrals without sounding like an ass? So there are some things that you're gonna hear that your first response is gonna be that's bullshit. But okay, how do I respond without saying that's bullshit? And it's just a way of, how do I get replies that are going to answer that question and move them to the next phase of the conversation. Um, and then again, ask the AI assistant, hey, draft me a direct message for people that have budget concerns. And just start to see what it puts out, and it'll help you. So when you're having that conversation live, you've already seen some of these replies and responses, and it helps you to come up with answers more quickly that answer their questions more effectively and allows you to move forward without getting stuck trying to answer a lot of questions about something that's a pretty easy yes or no and move them forward. Remember, practice is progress. Continue to practice, continue to use the tools. Again, if you can role play, role play. If you need to role play with the AI assistant, you can do that. You can talk to the AI assistant and have it go back and forth with a conversation with you if you'd like. Or you can text and type in and have it reply. But if you can do it live fire with a person, I highly recommend that you do that. It really goes a long way to making you more effective as a communicator and just anybody that has to deal with people, sales processes, anything along those lines. But use the AI assistant as much as possible. That's what it's there for. It's an incredible tool, gives you lots of opportunities to practice things, get good responses, and move forward confidently and quickly. So what's our action plan for the week? Prepare your responses. Pick 1 or 2 objections that you've heard, or if you haven't heard any objections yet, that's either you haven't had enough conversations or you're just really good at what you do. Either one's totally cool, but if you haven't heard any objections, go ahead, throw it in the AI assistant. Hey, give me, 3 objections that a small business may have about joining the XP network, and then role play how to answer those particular questions. Again, refine it with the AI. Use your AI assistant to help improve your wording and help improve your approach so that you can answer the questions effectively and quickly. Share your insights. Post stuff in the group. I don't see anywhere near enough action in the group talking about what it is that you're running into, what you're doing, what wins you're having, what success you've had. Share what you're doing in the groups because everybody needs to see it. And then again, practice your delivery. I really, really suggest role play. Most people hate role play. When I first started, I hated it because I wasn't very good at it and I didn't understand the benefits. Now I love to role play because I understand how effective it is at getting somebody who's not comfortable with having conversations to have that conversation in a safe area without worrying about, being criticized or hearing no or being laughed at or whatever it is, and working through that uncomfortable phase of, hey, I don't know how to do this, to, hey, I've had this conversation 20 times. I'm pretty comfortable with it now. So when I have that conversation with a real customer, a real vendor, or another agent, I'll be much more confident in how I answer that question. So role play does go a long, long way to improving your skills and making you more effective as a communicator, as a salesperson, just as a person in general, because the more often you can put yourself in a difficult conversation that's not really that hard, the better you're going to be when you do get it in a live sales meeting or a live situation. So hopefully that makes sense. I can't tell you enough. I can't stress enough how important role play is at really improving your people skills. So again, action plan. Work through your objections, write out your replies, use the AI assistant to help improve them, share in the WhatsApp group. Everybody wants to see it, and then practice your delivery. And I think that is it. So I'm going to open it up. I'm going to go ahead and exit that. Stop sharing. Okay, I'm going to open it up. Any questions? Anything that's come up? Diana, you're off camera. You're on camera again, so you must have something for us.
To share. Well, I do want to share something quick because I want to give other people a chance to do the same. But everything that you're saying, when you're learning the process of, how am I going to sell this? It could be intimidating when you don't have the experience. It could be like stressful. You get nervous. You get like chills, and you feel like you're gonna fail even before you start, and all that is in your head, and you have to kind of like give yourself a chance to think. The person I'm talking to is just another person. Don't think about the business owner kind of title. It's all in your head. So in the beginning of my sales career, I used to kind of try to memorize like everything about a presentation. Like, okay, I'm gonna memorize everything. And then when I started doing my presentations, I was pretty much just talking and talking and talking and talking, and no connections, because it was just me talking about my offering or my business, and not listening to what the customer might say. So it was just more about trying to finish with my presentation to start asking the questions. And then with time, I started learning that it's as simple as today I had this conversation with a vendor, and he came to me. He saw one of the postings that we did on one of our Facebook groups, and he wanted to learn more about what we're doing. And I started by asking just what type of business does he have? Does he have a marketing plan? Because he told me that he just started this business. What are you using? What are you planning to use for marketing? So instead of me coming straight at what we have for him, I started like asking the questions of, what do you need help with? What do you feel you need more help with? So because XP, extensive that if you're going to talk about everything that we offer, it can take hours, because we offer a lot for our vendors. So if you focus on listening what the vendor needs, what is the vendor's problem right now, and how you can solve that problem by offering this solution that we have right here, the conversation is much easier. They start engaging with you. He told me that he started he's an electrician. He started his small business. He used to work for this other big company, and he was a sales guy for this company. And he told me that they hate Angie, that they hate Yelp, that they're very expensive. And then he used to get all the calls that those leads that they got, and they were trash, and all that. You hear that over and over and over. And then when I started explaining to him, well, this is who we are and this is what we do, because we also hate that system, and what we do is totally different. We promote our vendors first. We put our agents, our team, we train them on using AI. Also, give yourselves value when you're presenting to a vendor. This is we are training every day to get better at marketing your business. We do it because we want to bring you a qualified customer, someone that is already needing your service. And we do it, this is our passion, to connect people. So sell yourself when you're in front of a customer or a vendor or another agent, whoever you want to recruit. And if you do it that way, they're gonna see that they want to do business with you because of what you have to offer to them. It's not only about this huge platform, is what we can do all together. I mentioned to him about the way that he can also, I asked him, I'm pretty sure, like, whenever you finish with a job or a project for one of your vendors, I'm pretty sure if the vendor was happy and satisfied with your quality of work, then the vendor needs some type of service, they're going to ask you for a recommendation, right? And he's like, yeah, always, I always get those. Okay, now what if I tell you that if you become part of this platform, you're going to be able to monetize those connections instead of just picking up the phone and passing the information to this friend of yours. Well, now you're going to be able to get some money out of those recommendations. And he was like, well, that's really interesting. I'm really into what you're telling me, because it's something that happens every time I go and I'm in front of a customer. It usually happens, or maybe somebody from their community. So start trying to connect with a vendor, and focus on solving the issues that they have. At this point, I noticed that he just wanted kind of like he was starting his business, so he was not ready with a website, or he just barely had a logo. So I try to kind of focus on, this is what we can do for you as far as like getting good professional online page that you can share, and it serves kind of like a mini website. So I give him an idea on how to utilize what we have to benefit his business. I kind of try to focus on the payment processing option, because I wanted for him to, hey, are you ready to process payments? What are you going to use for that? And he told me, well, I'm going to use Jobber, or I don't remember which other platform he told me about. So I really am already, I think I already have that covered. I explained to him about the chance to get sponsored. He was not interested in that, because he didn't want, as you said, he didn't want to have to learn another platform. He was just like, if I have to pay a percentage of, I don't care, this is already done. Because most of the vendors, they don't have a lot of time to, they feel like they're wasting time if they try to learn a different thing. So I was like, okay, well, I just want for you to know about this in case you want to give it a try. So he told me he asked me about objections after he listened to the whole presentation, maybe 35 minutes. He just asked me a couple of things like, so what is is there a contract? I was like, no, there's no contract. You just give us 30 days notification, and you can cancel anytime. And another, it was not an objection, but he asked me this question. How about customers? Like, how many customers do you already have? So my answer was, well, at this point, we have about, and this is a fact, 1,000 users within our platform. We're growing every time. We reach 600 vendors, but our agents are trained to go after customers. That's the way. Our main focus is getting customers for our vendors. So it's something that we train our agents to do every day. Customers are coming and joining every day because that's where our agents are going, and everybody's going after customers. That's why we, join groups, do partnerships with group administrators to be able to connect and grow our customers within the platform. So I guess maybe I extended, my sharing a little bit more than what I was supposed to, but I think it's good for us to kind of understand. Most vendors are going to have the same questions. Most of them, it's like, what are you different? Why are you different than the other guys? And if we focus on explaining why are we different than the other guys, they're gonna give us a try because he told me it's $100 only a month. And it was, yeah, it's only $100 a month. There's no contract, there's no contract. 495 seems fair because if I'm gonna build a website, it's gonna cost me a lot more than that. So why don't let's just give it a try. So he was very excited, and he just said, well, what I need to do to sign up? And it just took me like 45 minutes to complete the presentation, and he was already ready to join us. So it's, again, very exciting. It takes practice, so don't feel like maybe you couldn't close the deal right away. But if you keep taking this type of trainings and keep practicing and learning, it's like error and trial. You fail, and then why I couldn't close this deal? Maybe it's something that you are not able um to answer the right way to this customer. But next time you're gonna kind of like refresh and kind of think about, maybe this was a mistake. I know now how to answer this question, and this is gonna help you with getting a better overall, I guess, presentation, and hopefully get customers to, or vendors to sign up.
100%. And one of the things you said at the very beginning that I think really probably resonates with anybody that's new in this is you can get in your own head and you can get stuck, and it can prevent you from even reaching out to set up a call to talk to somebody. That's
Yeah.
the one thing that I think is the hardest for new people to get over is, hey, oh my God, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm a professional. I don't feel like an expert. I don't know what to do. And you come up with reasons not to make the call.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just do it. As Diana said, these guys they're just business owners. They're just people. They're not any different than you and I just sitting here talking. And most of them were laborers and now they're business
Mm-hmm.
owners, or they were doing the thing and then decided that, hey, you know what, let's open a business. So they
Mm-hmm.
have no idea what they're doing. They need as much help as they can get. And you're going to probably have twice as much knowledge and or experience as any of them when it comes to marketing and finding customers. So just be aware of that. You're probably way ahead of them when you're having the conversation.
True.
But
Somebody
your
else.
conversation sounded almost identical to every conversation I've had with a contractor to this point. It's
Yeah,
the exact
everyone, it's
same
the
objection.
same. You're gonna have the same,
Mhm.
almost exactly the same conversation with every vendor, because at this point there's no, all the platforms out there, they offer the same thing, and people are tired of that. So you come with up these solutions, they're gonna listen to you. At least they're gonna listen to you. So just make sure you're prepared to at least have this answers like clear in your mind. This is what I'm gonna go for, and this I'm gonna focus on this. And if for some reason you get a vendor that ask your question that you don't feel comfortable, that you don't know for sure, just say it. I'm a new agent. I'm in the training process. I don't want to answer this question the wrong way. Let me just go and ask my supervisor to give you the right answer. Just say it. Nothing is going to happen if you do that.
Yeah, they'll probably respect you more if you just say, "Hey,
Yes.
I don't know at this point. Let me go ahead and get you the right answer, and I'll follow back." And
Mhm.
that gives you a reason to follow up with them
Yes.
later. So there's a benefit to that too. But again, thank you all very much. I really, really appreciate you guys being here and spending your Thursday evening with me. The replays will be up, so if you want to watch it tomorrow, see me again, see the whole group, go ahead and do it. All the other replays are still up too. If you do have any questions though beyond that, the guide is in the WhatsApp group, and you can always ask questions. You've got the AI assistant for questions, so there's lots of places to ask questions and get help. But have a great weekend. Keep sharing in the Facebook group. And again, I appreciate everybody's time. Have a great evening, and I will see you all next week. Bye, guys.